Hi, it's Charlie McCann from Stan James. Welcome to a quick preview of the Premier League fixtures this weekend. Just a couple of church notices. Argentina 9s from 10s after last night. Don't be fooled. Very fortunate. I don't know if you saw the game against Uruguay. Uruguay played poorly as well, but when you think it's better to be a lucky manager than a good manager, Bartoli just walked on the field, scored with his first touch. It's very similar with Martin Palermo on Saturday for Diego. I'm still not convinced, and 9-1. I think when you think that's only half the price of, double the price rather, of Brazil and especially Spain, and really I do think Spain at 9-2 still represent. I think they're the best team. If you look in qualification, they look upon the best team. England 6-1, but Argentina I wasn't particularly impressed, although it's 9s from 10s for the 2010 World Cup. T20 as well. Remember, we paid out on both sides in the Eagles versus Sussex game earlier in the week. We'll be continuing to do that on better place prior to the toss in the tie. So if you get down to the wire, we'll be paying out on both sides as winners on better place prior to the toss on the outright market. New South Wales, for me, very impressed with them. I've also been very impressed so far in the Shanghai Massive with Rafa Nadal. I think Nadal might be back to his best. He'll beat Rob Rado. I think he's just going on court in about 10 or 15 minutes. I think he'll beat Djokovic if he gets to the final in Shanghai later in the week. Let's go to the Premier League. Villa 130 against Chelsea 5-6. I fancy Chelsea here, unsurprisingly perhaps. Villa, I'm still not convinced about Petrov and Sidwell in the middle of midfield. James Milner may not be willing to swap shirts with people. Be interested in whether he does with his England teammate Ashley Cole on Saturday afternoon, but I can't really have Villa. Wonderfully defensive. It's Collins and Dunn have done very well, but I just expect Drogba and Anelka to nick one, maybe 1-0 as last year, although Chelsea before that didn't have a great record at Villa Park. Going on my Arsenal should wipe the floor, I think, with Blues, although that's a bit flippant and maybe unfair on Blues. Blues have defended quite well so far this season, but when Arsenal are good, they're very good, and if they scored early, I think you may well have a good chase in. Blackburn did eventually, but remember Blackburn led both 1-0 and 2-1 last time at the Emirates. Everton 4-9, this is the first bet, and I know hopefully I'm not speaking through blue tinted glasses, but Wolves got beat by Portsmouth last week. No, I'm not worried about it. It was the time before their 5-2 demise against Sunderland at the Stadium of Light, although you could argue some of the goals were fortunate. Deflections with penalties, certainly one was, maybe one wasn't. The first one probably wasn't, but I don't think they can cope with Everton, especially King Louis. Louis Saha may be the key to their Everton season. People say Everton have no strikers. Well, I think when you look at Joe Yakubu coming back, Yakubu coming back from injury, Joe, we've also got hopefully Victor Anichebe coming back. Cahill can play up front, of course. Cahill scored for Australia midweek. Fellaini as well can play up front, but Louis Saha is the key, and Louis Saha I think will have too much for Wolves. 4-9. Everton is the first one. The second one, Blackburn at home to Burnley on Sunday, 4-5. Burnley woeful on the road against Blackburn, woeful on the road, but this is at Ewood Park, massive sellout crowd, big Lancashire derby, and they may well score. Burnley their first goal away from home of the season, but I think Blackburn rather will have far too much. They played it behind closed doors. At Stanley during the week at 2,500. They beat Accrington Stanley in the Save Our Stanley, which is I think very nice of Sam Allardyce and his club to go there. Jason Roberts was back. Benny McCarthy played. Nat Morton, Gant Penderson played in that. I think this is a big game for Blackburn, all of Lancashire, and I think Blackburn will have far too much for Burnley on Sunday. And the third one, 4-5, Blackburn by the way. The third one, this one is slightly debatable when people may know that I'm a big Sunderland fan. The big football bet I've had of the season so far is Sunderland to finish in the first 10 in the top half of the table, but I don't think they'll get anything against Liverpool, despite maybe slight doubts about Mascherano, who played in Montevideo last night and coming back. But I think Gerrard and Torres will be rested sufficiently to play on Saturday, and I think they probably will have too much for Sunderland, who were well beaten, I felt, by Chelsea earlier in the season, and that was an irresistible. That was a wonderful Chelsea performance. Deco inspired on that occasion, but I do think that Liverpool will have a bit too much for them. They're 4-5 as well, so the treble for Saturday's football. Liverpool 4-5 at Sunderland. No Kieran Richardson, remember, for them for 2 yellows. Also Everton 4-9 and Blackburn Rovers 4-5 in the Lancashire derby. Be lucky.